All right, welcome to the start of my new algo trading series, where we're gonna go through some of my favorite trading programs, trading bots, trading indicators in all languages: Python, C#, C++, JavaScript, all languages. This first video is gonna be based on the value vesting strategy by the famous Warren Buffett and his mentor, Benjamin Graham, as detailed in The Intelligent Investor. So it's gonna show you how to find value stocks based on their strategy criteria and Python. So please get your computers ready, load it up with Python, get your favorite IDE loaded onto your system, and get prepared to write some code to analyze these stocks and find some good investments. Now, if you guys want to build a bot or you want to look at some more algo trading ideals for 100% for free, you can check out all the links in my description, including my new algo trading web app, which is going to have discounts to prop firms, other resources to learning algo trading, as well as links to learn how to build any of your trading bots as well too, and strategies. Everything that you need for algo trading is going to be in that web app. So check the links in my description for this video and get your computers ready to write some code. See you guys soon.
Hopefully you guys took your time to review some of the material there, including the Intelligent Investor. I'm pretty sure you didn't finish it by now, but it's literally a great read, and it's going to be the fundamental of building these long-term portfolios, this strategy of value investing. All right. Now, I found this great article that summarizes some of the key metrics needed for value investing, which we're going to be utilizing into this script. For right now, I'm only using the first two, but definitely going to send the link inside of the chat and just generally kind of explain the two that we're going to be using. First is the price to earnings ratio, which is a PE ratio, is a metric that helps investors determine the market value of a stock compared to the company's earnings. The second one is price to book ratio, measures whether a stock is over or undervalued by comparing the net value, assets minus liabilities, of a company to its market capitalization. Those are the two we're going to be using. I think I saw something quite interesting here. It's important because it provides a measuring stick for comparing whether a stock is over or undervalued. Now that's important. I'm talking about for PE ratio, because again, with the value investing strategy, you want to kind of get companies that are undervalued. That's kind of what it is. It's looking at strong companies that are undervalued. And that's essentially how we're going to build our long-term investment strategy with Python. We're going to try to find, use those key metrics to find companies that are under the radar. And I'm not talking about Apple and Google or whatnot, because those companies are already pretty much overvalued. Like you're going to see when we run the script, they're pretty much overvalued. And there's nothing wrong with that. That just means those companies have already solidified their place in the market. But we're trying to find those companies that are undervalued and that have great financials, meaning that they will become overvalued at some point down the line. So that's the key. That's the key of this whole entire thing. Now, where are we going to get this data? Yahoo Finance. Yahoo Finance has a tab. If you search any company you want, if you've been here before, you've definitely been here before. You've been in Algo world. We've pulled historical data for back testing with the historical data tab. Options, that's something we actually pull from the API, but they have another tab here called statistics. Now the libraries, the Yahoo Fin library or the Yahoo Finance libraries, I haven't seen them able to scrape this. So I want no latency in this data. So we're going to just scrape Yahoo ourselves to get this data, because look, it has the trailing PE ratio, and it also has the price to book as well. So those are two key metrics that we need for this script. So we're going to just scrape this website ourselves. All right. Now here's the script. I already wrote it. I'm just going to take you through what I wrote. I was starting this here for you guys, but yeah, so these are the imports. Of course, you have to pip install them if you are, this is your first time using any of them. Pip install. So pip install BS4. Pip install request, Panda should already be there, but actually Panda shouldn't be there. Sorry, I forgot. Pandas, you have to pip install as well too. Pip install pandas, pip install urlib as well, and pip install Yahoo Fin. If this is your first time ever utilizing these programs. So you got to pip install all of them so that you have the library so you can actually import them into your code. All right. So these are the imports from BS4, import beautiful soup, import the request module, import pandas, import urllib.request and get the requested URL, and pip install from Yahoo Fin, sorry, that stock info import all. That's a cool import that I actually did. We could actually just import the tickers because we're going to be using this Yahoo Finance library just to get all of the S&P 500 tickers so that we can actually just figure out which companies undervalued in the S&P 500. Similarly, you can do that for the NASDAQ tickers, etc. But when you do import all, you actually have all of them. So you don't have to specify which tickers, which market tickers you need. And I'm going to show you once we get to the code, which we're getting right now. Now, I did all of this extraness just to kind of have that focus. So now here is the code. As you can see, it returned a lot. And I don't want to run this again because it took forever to have it done. All right, so first we're going to get into scraping data. So we're going to create a function for getting the stock data, and it's going to be taking in the ticker. We're going to set a variable called URL, and it's going to have an F string that takes in the ticker because, as you can see, we want to get to this. So what we're doing here is we're creating a URL variable that is going to import the ticker here. So instead of hard putting in MSFT, we're going to put ticker. So whatever ticker we place here is going to automatically be substituted here and here. And as you can see in the URL, and the ticker is actually shown after quotes and after P equals. So as you can see, I've actually put in ticker and ticker, which is going to be replaced by the ticker value that we place in here. So that's kind of the syntax of how we're going to be like importing our specific stock information, all right, for that table. Next, we're going to do HTML data, which is going to be utilizing the request library. So we're going to do request.get, the URL that we created here, and we're going to set headers equals user agent dot Safari. Now remember, these websites are all dynamic, meaning they will block you if you do not utilize a header tag. A header tag just lets them know that you're utilizing, that you're basically you're safely going into their website. They don't want us to scrape their website, so we need to find ways to kind of like stop them from stopping us. And one of the things we can do is putting a headers tag for a user agent and then specifying a browser. So we're putting a Safari. That lets them know like, hey, it's just a Safari website that's actually requesting access to your website. So it's basically saying we're just a browser. We're a Safari browser that's just looking up Yahoo Finance. We're not a program trying to scrape your information, even though we are. So please, it's 2023. Always set a header tag. You can use this over and over again if you're web scraping any website. Just make sure you put this in, please. Any website you're web scraping. And .text is just so we can return the HTML data, as you can see, because every website is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So we just want the HTML because that will return just the text information. Like again, the text information on this table, the text information up here, all of the text information will be returned in the HTML file. And from there, we want to use the pandas library. So pd.read.html, and that's going to just read the HTML data that we have stored here. And we want to return this first one and set the index to unnamed 0. The reason I want to do this, I'm going to pull this actually. I'm going to pull this so I can show you what it looks like. Okay. I want to pull this so you can see why we needed to do that. I actually had to really put this in, this set index to HTML. So let me show you what is returned when we don't do that. Oh yeah, I gotta hard put it in pause. I'm not sure. No, I don't need to put that in. I can just put MSFT. The reason why I have to put it in because again, I'm taking it outside of the function, so now I just have to actually put it in. Name request is not defined. I didn't run this. Here we go. Okay, cool. Let me show you what it returns. So you see, it returns all of this, all right? And we want the data specifically from the PE ratio and the price to book. So we need to get into this column. That is why I put dot set index equal to unnamed 0, so that we can first get this index out of here, and then we can actually pull from this. So let's do that. Boom. So you set the index. As you can see, now we're here, and now we can actually get into each one of these values in each one of the rows, and that's what we're about to do next. So we're going to filter the data, and this is how we're going to get it. We need the PE ratio, so we're going to set that equal to a variable called PE ratio. So we already set this to an index. Now the PE ratio we're going to use is the trailing PE, which is right here. So when you utilize the dot lock, so the dot lock and dot lock allows you to pull values from a specific row in a data frame. So that is what dot lock is doing here. So instead of pulling columns, most times when you're using pandas, you're going to be pulling data from columns, which are the headers here. But we want to pull row data, and that's where you need to use the dot lock function from pandas. Now, again, if you're an algo world, I told you, please review pandas documentation. There's so many cool things that pandas does, like this, that you need to review. It does so much. There's so much I don't even know, but please take some time to review the pandas docs, which I'll probably just also leave here as well too, but it's already been here. So please review these libraries, especially pandas. Pandas is crucial to all of this algo trading, data science, data analysis. Pandas is literally the one library you always see me use. Review pandas library. All right. Now, same thing, we need the PB ratio. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to use the price to books MRQ, which is right here. And we're going to this is how we're going to call the data from there. Now, these are both float values. So as you can see, where is it? They have a decimal point. So they have a 0.03. So these are not integers. These are considered floats. So if they were integers, if it was 32 and not .03, then we would put int. But because it's a float value, we have to specify that it's a float value, just because we're going to compare it. So we're looking for a PE ratio that is less than 15. But first, it's going to be in a string format. So the reason why we have to convert it to a float is because it is a float. But when we pull it from the data frame, it's going to be pulled as a string value. So I'm transferring it into a float. Both the PE and the PB ratio are going to be returned as strings. So again, I'm turning them into a float by using the float and then basically putting them in the parentheses. So what's considered a PE ratio that's undervalued is both anything less than 15. For PB ratio is anything less than 1.5. If you read Intelligent Investor, you understand the logic behind it. So that's where I got these two values from the actual book itself, all right? Now, if it is, then we will return true. If it's not, which is else, then we return false, all right? Next, we want to load the tickers. So this is what I was talking about with the Yahoo Fin library. Instead of just importing tickers underscore S&P 500 directly, I just import it all so that I can actually change this up. If I want to do NASDAQ, I could change this to NASDAQ. If I want to do Dow, I could change this to Dow. But I just want all the S&P 500 tickers, and I put it in a variable called tickers, right? And lastly, we do a for loop for ticker in tickers. So for each individual ticker in the S&P 500 tickers, we want to put it into the actual function here so that we can actually web scrape it like we were doing below here. We want to get this data frame from each ticker in the S&P 500. And there are going to be some tickers that have, where is it? Yeah, so there are some tickers that have the T symbol, or they have like a K. They have a K for 1,000, right? And for that reason, it does not fit like the data frame. The program does not understand that the K stands for 1,000. You can actually write that logic, but it kind of just confuses the program and you're going to get a bunch of errors. One way to continue a program, if you even expect errors, is to use the try and except block. All right. The try and except block basically means try running this program the way I have it specified. And if you run, which is except exception, if you run into any issues, any errors, pass, meaning just skip it and go to the next one. That's essentially what I'm saying here. there are some stocks in here that have syntax that essentially is not, it has a K for 1,000 as opposed to just writing 0000, like comma 000. So the way we have the program set up, it's not set up to analyze that, to recognize that, to understand that. So in order to just put my headache away, and like I said, anytime you have any programs that you feel may have errors, just use a try and accept block. That basically means, hey, run the program. If you run into any issues, skip it and go to the next one. That's essentially what we're doing here with this try accept block. So in it, we're going to use the filters database, and we're going to put the DF, the data frame that we created up here, which was putting the S&P 500 into this function. And we're basically going to print F string if ticker is a value stock, and it's going to get that based on, again, this syntax here. So returns true if it's a value stock, and it's going to be false if it's not a value stock. So that's essentially what this is going to do. If it's a value stock, it's going to return true, and if it's not, it's going to return it's not a value stock, which is the false. This is what we were specifying right here for this function, if else statement for this function. True means it is a value stock, false means it's not. So if filters underscore value df, if it's true, that's essentially what this is saying, which again, we specified here based on if the PE ratio is less than 15 and the PV ratio is less than 1.5, that will return true. If it's true, then that stock is a value stock. Else, it's most likely not true, then it is not a value stock. And if it has any errors, pass. See, very simple, calm program, all right? And when you run this whole entire cell, which you do by clicking run up here, you're going to get, it's going to slowly go through all the S&P 500 tickets. And as you can see, there's a lot of, it's not a value stock, it's not a value stock, it's not a value stock. We have some right here that, wait, sorry. See, that's why I know my, oh, here it is. AIG is a value stock. Surprising, AIG. Didn't they get bailed out in 2008? No. They did actually, but yeah, they got a few of them that is a value stock. So you can just go through this and kind of pull that. And that's essentially how you will pull that up. And there's going to be a second part to this program where we check their financials just to make sure that they are financially stable. But for right now, I want to leave you guys with this. This is the first step. The second step will be checking their financial. But yeah, so play around with this program. Let me know your thoughts. See if you can add in the other key metrics, like the debt to equity ratio, your free cash flow. But what I essentially did is I created another program to kind of like check through the other financials, which kind of most of these are actually other financials. All right. So play around with this. Let me know your thoughts. See you in the next video. Peace.